Hello guys, welcome to Advanced Python tutorial series. In this series, we'll learn some of the advanced topics like lambda expressions, decorators, data structures, etc. So first, let's start with functions in Python as this will help in understanding lambda expressions and decorators. So these are the list of topics I'll explain about functions in Python. First topic would be basics, which will tell about how a function is defined and how to call it. Then we'll move on to how a function is stored within Python, and then we'll see how function can be passed as an argument to another function, and also how a function can be returned from another function. Then we'll move on to nested functions. As the name suggests, a function can be defined within another function in Python, and at last we'll see how an object can be used as a function. So before we see examples on each of these topics in detail, we have to install two softwares: Python 3 latest version and Visual Studio Code for code editing. I'll leave links of these two softwares in the description below. You can download it and install it. So let's switch to Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, this is the Explorer window wherein all the source files will be present. And this is the terminal window using which we provide the Python command. To verify if Python is added to the path variable, type Python and see if it is printing the Python version, and also opening the Python terminal. So let me exit. So to create a new file in the Explorer window, we can see a new file option here. Click on that. I'll name it as function example.py. Okay. So let's start with first topic, basics of function. In general, a function is a group of instructions to perform a specific task. For example, a specific task could be performing mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, or it can be some string operations like string concatenation or reversal of string. So these logic is grouped under a function so that it can be reused, like it can be called any number of times so that the same logic can be reused. So let me uh, create a function, a simple function like say hello, and let me just print hello within this method. So the syntax is def space function name and then parenthesis, then colon, then the function body. So to call this, we just refer it by function name with parenthesis. So if I run this, so you can see here hello is getting printed, which is defined within this method. So let me create a method which accepts arguments like add and adding two arguments. So and it returns sum of these two. Return is used to return some value from a method. So here it performs addition of these two arguments and then returns its result. So let me pass 3 and 4 to this. So here you can see it is printing 7, which is sum of 3 and 4. So this we can call it any number of times, like add 4 comma 5. So now it prints 7 and 9. So yeah, so this logic is getting reused. That is the main purpose of a function. Okay, let's move on to next topic, function as object. So in Python, everything is treated as an object. So similar way, function is also treated as an object. When we check type of a function, we can see that it prints a class of type function. We can see this with an example. So let me create a function which I had created earlier. Say hello, and let me pass name argument here, and let me print hello space name. So if I print type of say hello, so we can see type is an inbuilt method of Python which will print the objects type. So if I run this, so here you can see like it is displaying class function. So that means to say whenever we define a function, like it is nothing but an object. So since a function is nothing but an object, we can assign it to another variable. So whenever we refer a method name with parentheses, it will call that method. But when we remove this, it will return the reference of that method. We can print this. So if I run this, you can see uh, it prints function say hello at this address. So I can assign this reference to another variable. Example hello ref want to say hello. So now this method will have two references. One is from say hello and one is from hello ref. Both will be pointing to same method. And now with hello ref, I can call the say hello method passing a name. Now if I run this, it should still work, printing hello John. You can see here it is printing hello John. So this is assigning the object reference from say hello to hello ref. We are indirectly calling say hello method. So these functions can be stored in data structures as well. For example, it can be stored in list also. Let me create another method. Suppose add x comma y and let it return, or instead of returning, let me print its sum here. Okay. So now let me create a list. Okay, let me clear these two. Uh, so function refs, I can pass say hello and add. So now this list variable will have references of these two objects. Okay, so if I print the list, you can see it will be holding references of these two functions, function say hello and function add. And using this list, I can also call. So if I refer function ref as ref of 0, it will be referring to say hello. And if I pass a string variable, so it can call, so it will print hello John. So similar way, if I access first index and pass two numbers 2 comma 3, so it should print the sum. You can see it is printing 5 here. So that was about function as object. Let's move on to next topic. Passing function as arguments. So since functions are objects, they can be passed as arguments to another function. Uh, for example, let me again create the same function name and may return hello name. So, and let me write another function, for example, print hello, and it will accept an argument function ref. Then let me call this function ref. Since it returns a string, I'll assign it to some variable. Now I can print this. So if I call this print hello method, passing say hello reference, so it will be assigned as an object, and inside this function we are calling it and getting the return value of say hello and storing it in hello str, and that is getting printed here. So if I run this print hello and hello of say hello as a reference, and here I had missed the name parameter, so let me give it. So if I run this, now it has to print hello John. So it is printing hello John here. So passing function as an object to another object will be very useful. Let's take an example of Python's inbuilt map function. So map will take two arguments. One is function reference and the next is iterable. So here what I'll do is, to map, let me pass say hello as function reference, and for iterable I'll create a list of names. So John, Peter, and now so let me print this and see. Okay, it is printing map object. So let me convert this back to list. So here you can see a list called hello John and hello Peter. That means what map is doing is it is calling say hello to each of these parameters. That means it will iterate over each of this list and call this function, and this function will return hello, um, appending the name whatever is in the list. So that was about passing function as arguments. Let's move on to next topic. So next topic is nested functions. So nested function is nothing but a function defined within a function. So let's see one example. Outer fun, and let me print this as outer function, and let me define one more function, inner function, and print inner function. Okay, so now within this function itself, let me call inner function. So now when I call outer function, both first outer function will be called, then here within the outer function inner function is getting called, so this will inner function will be printed. So if we run this, first outer function is getting printed and then inner function is getting printed. So you can see the sequence here. Outer function it will call and this print will be executed, then inner function call, which is defined within the same function, that will be called. If we try to execute inner function from outside, it will not work because inner function is not visible from the outside, so it will error out if we run this. So it says name error, name inner one is not defined because it is not visible to the outside world. So if we want to execute the inner function from outside, we can do it. That is by passing the reference of inner function outside. So that means returning it. So if instead of calling this, I'll just return reference to inner function. So let me, after returning, let me call that method. So let me store it in some variable. So inner func reference. So now this inner function reference will have this reference. Now using this, we can call the inner method from outside. Now if we run the same method, first outer function, this print will be executed, then this is returned, and outside I'm calling this inner function. So let me explain another concept in nested functions. So let me take say hello example itself and pass name as argument, and within this method let me add a print hello method. So inside this, let me add a print statement hello space name, and here let me return the reference to print hello method. So if we call say hello method with some name John, I'll get the reference of print hello. Okay, so and then if I call this, let me save this. So if I run this, so here you can see it is printing hello John. So here you can see actually within the inner function I'm not passing the name argument, but still it is able to access it. Whenever I pass, it is not throwing an error and it is printing hello John as expected. So this concept is called closure. That is the inner function is binded to the data which is passed to the outer function. That is how it is able to access this name parameter inside the second function. So okay, then let's move on to last topic, uh, object as function. An object can be made as function by using a special method called double underscore call double underscore method. So let's see an example. Let me create a class called person, and we add a constructor here, self, sorry I missed underscore here, and pass name as an argument. So and let me assign self dot name to name. Okay, so now if I create person object and pass name to it. So in Python, there is a inbuilt method called callable, which will check if an object can be called or not. So if we pass person object to this callable method, and let me print this, this will display whether it can be called or not. So if I run this, so here you can see it is printing false. So that means the object is not callable. Now let me add the special method double underscore call, and inside this method let me just print the name. Okay, so now if I run this, So here you can see now the callable is true, and now if I, using the object reference person object, if I just call it, now the call method will be called when I use person obj, the small parenthesis. So if I run this now, so here you can see it is printing name as John as well. And let me remove this call method once, and let me print. Now it should error out saying person object is not callable. Let me zoom in. Yeah, so see, it says type error, person object is not callable. So that is all I had on functions in Python. Uh, if you have any questions or doubts, please leave them in the comment section below. In next video, we'll see about lambda expressions. So thank you for watching.